Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios once again with another One Piece chapter summary. This week's chapter is chapter 1092, and I wrote it down because it's a long one. Kuma the Tyrant's Holy Land Rampage. So, bit of an update. I didn't really post any videos for a little bit because I hurt my back at work, and everything's cool now. I just don't move as quickly as I used to. Other updates in my life, it was my birthday a few days ago, which is cool. My family got me this 8 terabyte external drive, which is good because videos take up a lot of space and I have a lot of videos. I think my channel has almost 600 videos on it right now, and I save all of the original versions to my computer. You know, just backup, the typical things YouTube people do. But anyways, you don't care about that. You care about the chapter itself. So let's start with the artwork. We got Jinbei. He's being smushed by some remoras. They're better known as suckerfish, which is really cute because they're suckerfish. He's a whale, but they're giant, so they're all sticking to him and he's being smushed by them. It's really cute. So, the chapter itself, though, it starts off with Marijois, yesterday, where Kuma is just blowing things up. He's shooting his lasers. He uses Ursa Shock once they've got him, like, captured in these chains. And the only person who can really put a stop to this is the Fleet Admiral himself, Sakazuki. He shows up, he's staring Kuma down, and he's like, first the revolutionaries, and now you. And this one soldier, he's trying to get up, and he's like, oh, Fleet Admiral. And that's when a celestial dragon bops that guy on the head and says, what is the meaning of this? Oh, how dare you, Sakazuki, make us wait? Yesterday I ordered lobster, and do you know what happened? They told me we were out of lobster. That is such a horrible insult. You call yourself a Fleet Admiral? What am I supposed to do? Like, totally ignoring the fact that their food supply has been cut off. No. It's the fact that it's their fancy food that they didn't get the second they asked for it. They have no idea that for the next month of their lives they might actually not be eating at all. Oda did a great job at making this prestigious higher class not fully realize the gravity of the situations they're in. It reminds me of Mjosgard back during Otohime's flashback, where he was just like, oh, all my slaves fled? Well, that's okay. I'll just go get them. I'll go pick them up and tell them, hey, get back in the bag, and I'll take you back to Marijois, and you'll be slaves again, and they'll be so happy to do that. Anyways, Sakazuki, honestly, one of the few times I've ever been like, respect, he just completely ignores them. He's just focusing on Kuma, and he's like, Kuma, first the revolutionaries, now you're just a shell. You don't even have free will anymore. What are you doing here? Of course, the Kuma body, shell, I don't even know what to call him anymore. He just ignores Sakazuki, and the two of them kind of duke it out. Sakazuki, in classic Akainu format, just goes for the face, bashes with magma part of Kuma's face off. However, that's not enough to stop this automaton, and Kuma just kind of, with his pawpaw fruit, away from Marijois. And Sakazuki's watching him fly away, and he's kind of just like, well, that was weird. And he thinks back to when he caught Jewelry Bonnie. Or I guess he didn't catch Jewelry Bonnie. Blackbeard caught her and was going to trade her for a battleship, but obviously got double-crossed because the Navy's not going to consort with pirates. And as he ditched and Sakazuki came up to Bonnie, he told Bonnie that Kuma is a living weapon, he's got no brain anymore, he's gone, and she refuses to believe that because she says, and I quote, he wouldn't leave her alone. I don't know what happened, and I very much would like to see an Egghead flashback because I think that would help us put everything together. Obviously, Bonnie's opinion on things has changed after seeing Kuma's memories, so we need to get a look at that. But that's all we get for Marijois. We don't know where Kuma's popping to. I'm thinking, because he was here, well, no, that doesn't make sense, because Kamabaka Queendom is in the New World. So why would he pop to Mary Joie and then pop to Egghead? So he might not be going to Egghead. He might be going somewhere in the Paradise half of the Grand Line. Wherever Kuma's landing, we don't know yet. I'm sure we'll find out in a few chapters. But that's pretty much all we see at Mary Joie. Now we cut back to Egghead. Luffy is in Gear 4th, Snake Man, duking it out with Kizaru. And Kizaru's like, oh wow, you are definitely the guy that beat Kaido, because you are moving real fast. And unfortunately for Luffy, though Snake Man is his fastest mode, Kizaru is made of light and therefore faster. And he manages to get away from Luffy, build up some energy, and launch right back towards Luffy, slamming him, knocking him clean into Vega Force 1, which was currently running away with the Thousand Sunny in hand, but the impact of Luffy hitting it shatters the entire robot, causing it to drop the Thousand Sunny as it goes. As the Vega Force 1 lands on the ground, the Sunny kind of rolls over. Frankie's upset because of the boat. Lilith's upset because Vega Force 1 is destroyed. Bonnie is the only one who's going to actually try and take a swing at Kizaru. She tries to hit him with her age ability. Whether to age him up or down, we don't know, because unfortunately, she didn't hit him. But he does tell her, hey, this isn't easy for me, I'm friends with Vegapunk, and last I checked, you hated him, so why are you trying to stop me? To which she just responds with, I've changed who I hate. My hate has been redirected, which is why I'm trying to fight you. And he goes, listen, I don't like doing this. So if you could just step aside, I don't want to hurt any more old acquaintances than I have to. So again, this brings me to, I would love to see an Egghead flashback where we get Bonnie and Sentomaru and Kizaru and Kuma and Vegapunk all together in their much younger years. Maybe we get to find out what Bonnie's real age is, because maybe Bonnie is the same age as Sentomaru, but I've been hearing some people theorize that Bonnie might actually be significantly younger. Like, this might actually be like a 10-year-old kid aging herself up rather than a 23-year-old woman in her base form. So, however this plays out, we still need more pieces together, because there's a lot we don't understand. But with that, Frankie tries to shoot a radical beam, only to find Kizaru has disappeared, and Lilith realizes, oh no, the Stella is in danger. We cut to the lab where Vegapunk, Atlas, and Edison have finally cracked through York's code, which is great, and York even is upset by it, which is nice. So they crack the code, they can bring down the defense dome, but as Usopp is telling Frankie this good news, Frankie's like, well, about that, Vega Force 1 can't carry the Thousand Sunny anymore, and that's when Kizaru goes, yep, because I destroyed it, and Vegapunk turns around, and there he is right behind him, because dude's made of light. He moves that fast. And he's like, listen, Vegapunk, can we just skip to the part where I kill you? Because, I really don't want to I don't want to drag this out any more than I have to. And as his laser's charging up, everything starts to shake. And everything starts to rumble. And Luffy comes bursting through the wall as a giant Gear 5th and grabs Kizaru. And as he's grabbing Kizaru looks up at him and he's like, oh, so this is the thing you do now. And the whole while, Luffy's heart is beating the drum of liberation as it was when he was fighting Kaido. And here's the part that's interesting. The chapter ends with Oda cutting to the Iron Giant, the big giant mech that attacked Mary Joie 200 years ago. And it starts to power up. But it's interesting about that because it's powering up, but it's powering up to the drums of liberation. Because Oda puts in detail of Luffy's heartbeat playing on the panels where the giant is starting up. And this raises a few questions for me. One, why didn't the giant boot up when Luffy was fighting Rob Lucci in Gear 5th? Is there was Luffy in Gear 5th fighting Lucci not his serious mode? Because, okay, yes, we know Gear 5th is not serious in any way, shape, or form. Luffy literally turns into a rubber hose Toon Physics cartoon character. But what I mean by serious is Luffy is taking the fight against Kizaru as a life or death, I gotta defeat you to save my friends. Whereas Lucci, it felt more like an exhibition match. So maybe Luffy's heart doesn't always have to beat the drums of liberation to become Gear 5th. It might be like a zone-type Devil Fruit where he can just shift between those two forms. But when Luffy is like really fighting for freedom, that's when the drums of liberation are playing in his heart. The other question that this raises up for me is, if the drums are what power the Iron Giant, or if it's the essence of freedom itself, or if it's Joy Boy, who was powering the robot 200 years ago? Because if Joy Boy existed 900 years ago, at the end of the Void Century, or during the Void Century with Zoe or Zunisha, not Zoe didn't exist, Zunisha was the elephant. But if, 900 years ago was the last time Joy Boy was around, then who powered the robot 800 years ago? Or 200 years ago? Is there another Joy Boy? Was it somebody failing to use the Nika fruit? Or was it just 200 years ago, the world came so close to freedom that the drums of liberation were beating even without the sun god Nika to help it? Whatever the reason, that's pretty much all we get this week. We just get that the robot is starting up, which means the robot will probably be what carries the Thousand Sunny all the way to the edge of Egghead, and then they'll Kuda burst away and head off to Elbaf. But until then, it's all up in the air. Same as always, but those are my theories on it. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next, as I always do. I hope I'm correct about the drums of liberation powering up the robot. Otherwise, it's just a really weird coincidence. But let me know in the comments below what you think, because I really do like bouncing my thoughts off of other people. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.